Well, thanks, Corey. Best of luck. So now we're moving on to the next presentation, which coincidentally also has to do with publishing. It's a new London-based startup. They're called CompletelyNovel. And yeah, you should get your presentation up and running. Okay, here we go. This is Anna, by the way.
Hi, so my name is Anna Lewis and I'm from CompletelyNovel.com, and I'm here to talk to you about CompletelyNovel in the context of web networks and breaking down barriers in traditional industries where you have a few dominant players. And with CompletelyNovel, what we've done is created a distributed network of service providers to mean that we can create viable alternatives for even the smallest players who want to monetize and distribute their content. So it fits in quite well to what Corey was just talking about with print on demand and all these new opportunities that are making these viable alternatives possible. So what is CompletelyNovel? Well, crudely put, it's a kind of MySpace for books. So writers can go on there, they can upload their content, and they can publish online and in paperback copy via links to print-on-demand printers. So we have this community of readers and writers, and also publishers, literary agents, printers, and other service providers all coming together. And ultimately, we have two main goals from this community. And the first one is to basically help publishers to identify the books that are going to be the best sellers. And then the second goal is to give these other writers that are going to be using, whose books will have a smaller audience, giving them a viable alternative as well. So, the best kind of way to illustrate this is by talking about perhaps two different writers that we have on our website at the moment. And the first is a writer who is, his book has been very popular on the website. He's got lots of good reviews, lots of sales, doing really well. And he'd approached publishers before, but they hadn't been successful in terms of they hadn't taken on his book. But armed with the viewing figures and the sales results and the reviews from CompletelyNovel, he was able to go to those publishers and say, look, it's worth taking on my book, it's not as risky as it may have appeared. That book got taken on by publishers. So he went into the publishers route, became a hit book, and is in the mainstream. Now our other CompletelyNovel user, her book had a much more niche audience. It was a book about a local attraction, so there was a small community that were really, really keen to buy it, but it wasn't going to be something that was going to be successful in the mainstream. So she went through a long tail filter and into the niche customers, so they could buy it and she could make a profit from that without needing to go through large publishers. And we have two different revenue streams related to those. We make money from the first instance where the book is taken on by a publisher by acting as a digital literary agent and taking the commission on the publishing deals that are made. And in the second instance, it's a case of taking a commission on the services offered between different users. For example, the printing and distribution arrangements, things like that. So this is traditional publishing industry. So it's a very traditional industry. You have some gatekeepers along the way, and it's all geared towards high fixed cost and best sellers. Basically, you need large volumes to make sure that publishing your book is viable. So what this means is that you've got this long process that you have to go through, and each person is like a gatekeeper to the next stage in the process. And it's very expensive to go through the whole stream, because when you get to the top, to the customer, and you actually make that sale, you've got to give everybody else a cut, obviously, of the retailers. So, what we can do with Completely Novel is give people the option to publish their book to a publisher. And then the publisher can take it up to the customer that way. So we're going to write a publisher on Completely Novel and then going up to the publisher and taking it through. Now, the alternative to this would be if the writer wasn't going to make it into the mainstream and just did the web-enabled long tail, which means that they can effectively cut out some of those gatekeepers and go directly to the customer. And this is what things like print on demand enable you to do. We just send a digital file to the print on demand printer and they can send it directly to the customer, which is great. And of course, if there will be some instances where you kind of have an in-between stage where the user on Completely Novel wants to sell more books and does want to get it into the retailers, and we can help them do that by linking them to distributors and then sending them a process later on, but bypassing the gatekeeper publisher at the beginning. So you can see the variety there. So basically, we're breaking down these barriers, and we want web networks to provide these alternative routes to market. And also, what we've realised is it's not just about creating the alternative, it's about trying to work with the system that's there already. So you can look all the people that want to be published into the mainstream. And obviously, publishers do add a great deal of value in a lot of instances, but it's only for 80% of the books that are published actually make a loss or break even. So it's really important that publishers can find that top 20% they're actually going to make the money, and that's where we can come in handy. So the last thing is just to mention that the way that Completely Novel is built is it's structured into modules. So we have different functions in different areas, and the print on demand printing network is a really interesting one because it's something that we're going to be opening up an API to at the end of 2009. So it will give lots of opportunities to developers to look at different ways that they can monetize content. And a nice example of that is something like, a website which has a niche interest, like, recipe books or something like that. You can create a customized book for somebody and link it directly into the print on demand printing network. And we have these printers based in the UK, the States, and we're expanding it globally. And you'll actually be able to select those printers depending on the kind of services that they can offer. So it's really individualised, which is really nice. So that's all I have to say. If you've got any questions, please come talk to me afterwards. I'm Anna, and Ollie Brooks from Completely Novel is here as well. And yeah, thanks very much.
But Anna, could I actually ask you a question? Will you come back on? I do like the project, but the question occurred to me, why wouldn't I use Lulu, for example, instead?
Well, Lulu is a really good website if you want a print shop, effectively. So they provide a service which transforms digital content into physical content. What we do is we put the whole community around that to actually make it possible to identify these ones that are going to be bestsellers and also give people the chance to market their book. We have lots of other cool little features like this book streamer, which is like a YouTube book, which you can embed around the web, and it all links back to Completely Novel. So it's about kind of bringing the whole community aspect to it, not just the printer.
Okay, thank you.